We're going to be talking about a couple of things today, but we're just going to start off talking about um, a contract extension for Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey. He just recently signed a 4-year, $64 million contract extension to remain with the Carolina Panthers for the next 4 years. Frankie, what's your take?
Well, he is their franchise player. We all know that. Carolina didn't have much success last year, but the success that they had really passed through Christian McCaffrey. This guy is a freak of nature. He catches the ball, he runs the ball. He's an all-around running back. He's he's probably the best running back in this league. And his contract, he's gonna become the highest paid running back to ever exist with this extension, which is really crazy. But he's demonstrated that he's capable of producing under a lot of pressure because, as we know, last year he didn't have no one to surround him, and he still produced at a very large level. So this salary is identical to his production, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. He's a workhorse running back. Running backs, a lot of people think that they shouldn't be getting paid as much, but this is a very special case. He's their best running back. He's also their slot receiver. He's also their kick returner and their punt returner. He's never off the field on offense. We all saw it coming. He was getting shredded right before the season. During OTAs when that picture, went viral of his arms. Like you could just tell, he was expecting to really, storm the league with his ability to play. So I think he definitely deserves this contract. I just hope that Carolina could keep building around him. And I hope that, Carolina's rebuild will, positively impact the way he plays.
Even bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, they really brought in pieces accordingly to Christian McCaffrey. They brought in Robbie Anderson. They're really going to become a run-first team. Christian McCaffrey's only 23 years old, which is crazy.
We just have to wait and see how Carolina will use him this season in Teddy Bridgewater's first year in Carolina. So moving on, we have a special guest with us. He was my teammate on the field. He played tight end. He's a phenomenal defensive player as well. Outside linebacker, always got the ball, made sure that he was where the ball was, tackling everyone, catching. He was a monster after the catch. Also a phenomenal kicker. If offense and defense don't fit him in college, be sure to watch him as a kicker because this guy could drill 50 yards like nothing. Any college scouts or NFL, this is a winner here. Playmaker on the field, and an even better guy off it. So Bart. Also, team comeback kicker.
Big Arizona Cardinals fan. So
yeah,
you guys know what we're gonna be talking about. DeAndre Hopkins, eh?
got him for a steal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So just to give you guys a couple of details about the trade. So Houston basically gave DeAndre Hopkins and a 4th-round pick in this year's draft to the Cardinals for David Johnson, a 2nd-round pick in this draft, as well as a 4th-round pick in next year's draft. Basically got him for nothing. What's your take on that, Bart?
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, he's shown over the years that he's been in the league that he's one of the top receivers. He's got great speed, great route running, and probably, I'd say, the best hands in the league. Guy makes phenomenal catches. Him and Odell probably the best hands. And I mean, David Johnson, he had a phenomenal year, but I don't think you can compare a player with this much ability like DeAndre Hopkins to David Johnson. I mean,
And he's been injured also. So
yeah, he's very prone to injury. And we just got a fresh quarterback, Kyler Murray, who had a pretty good first year. And we're a team that's building up. We got a new head coach, new quarterback, new players, and I think DeAndre Hopkins really fits into the culture that Arizona's building.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge Sooners fan, so I loved watching Kyler Murray in college. And even like this year, in a lot of classes that I was really bored in. I would always search up Cardinals highlights. Just watching Kyler Murray and seeing how Cliff Kingsbury likes to use him. He loves using him on the screens, especially in the RPO. And, he's super electric too. So if they don't pass it in an RPO, expect him to, run the ball. He's super quick and very, electric with the ball. Can't wait to see what he's going to do with DeAndre Hopkins. He has a very strong arm. I just think that, hopefully Kingsbury can use him in the right situations. And what I've noticed is the Cardinals are making sure that they don't mess this one up because, they drafted Josh Rosen last year. They failed to build around him. So this is going to be huge. Steve Keim looking, for redemption with the last year's pick. They also have the 8th pick in the draft. So, expect it to be on probably an O-lineman.
Yeah, for sure.
That's their best case scenario.
I mean, all Cardinals fans were like really excited for the draft. Looking at CD Lamb and maybe making a Oklahoma connection again. But with this trade, I mean, I think we're definitely going to focus on Noah Lyman because that's what we need right now when you protect a quarterback for him to be able to throw to great receivers.
DeAndre Hopkins, I'm a little going to go off on the Texans right now. DeAndre Hopkins is 27 years old. He has 3 years to his contract left, approximately $13 million per year. It's a pretty hefty contract for one player. But knowing DeAndre Hopkins, who produces at a rate that he only can produce, and he is truly in the top 2 best wide receivers in this league. I don't know how this trade's possible. Probably 0% chance that it was a money problem because on the flip side, Houston brings in David Johnson, who's 28. He has 2 years left on his contract. In 2020, he's going to win approximately $11 million. And in 2021, approximately $8 million. And David Johnson really regressing. He had one very good year.
DeAndre Hopkins is, phenomenal. I don't think you can get much better than that. Really hard to find anyone more talented than him. He always makes sure to get the ball. He's super resilient after he gets the ball. He wins a lot of jump balls, especially in the end zone. He's a huge red zone target, for anyone. What I was going to say was Houston, they're in an interesting situation. Duke Johnson was a pretty solid pass catcher. And, David Johnson, coming 3 years off of a year where he almost got 1,000. He almost got 1,000 rushing yards and 1,000 receiving yards, just like Christian McCaffrey. So I don't know what Bill O'Brien was trying to do there because they also traded for Brandon Cooks, who is currently $1 million cheaper than DeAndre Hopkins. A 5-year, $80 million extension with the Rams. But in 2017, Bill O'Brien inked Hopkins to a 5-year, $81 million deal. So I don't know what he was trying to achieve with that trade.
Yeah, I mean, even when you look at the Cardinals, we brought in Kenyon Drake halfway through the season, and we used him much more than David Johnson. I mean, David Johnson only got 345 rushing yards this year, but we know he can produce at a level where he can get 1,000 yards per season. But I mean, the guy's 28. He doesn't have, and for a running back who have, not as long careers just because they get hit so much. So I think he has maybe two or three more decent years, but he's very injury prone. So I just think that the trade was a big win for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and especially the franchise tag on Kenyon Drake really put David Johnson at special positions. Maybe the Cardinals want to push his exit, but how do you feel on Kenyon Drake and his franchise tag?
I mean, the guy, he had even though he didn't play for the whole season, I mean, when he played, he was phenomenal, and he had a really good connection with Kyler Murray, whether it was for the RPO and Kyler would run it or the screen passes as Dylan mentioned before. I mean, I'm happy that we got him for sure. For the franchise tag, it's for the Cardinals to see what they want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And, on the defensive side of the ball, the Cardinals, they have very capable players. They have arguably the best defensive player in the league, Chandler Jones, who is coming off an incredible year, 19 sacks last year. And, they
TJ
also,
Watt.
exactly. And they also had two incredible tacklers, Jordan Hicks and Buda Baker. Buda Baker, a Pro Bowler. They both ranked in the top 5 this year in tackles. So, it's good that Arizona is, moving towards building around Kyler Murray and, making sure that he'll have, a surge in his sophomore year. It's important to note, though, the NFC West is just getting better. San Francisco is coming off a Super Bowl loss. They're going to be hungry. Seattle, they're definitely going to address their O-line and their, a couple more of their needs. The Rams, they were 2 years off of a Super Bowl loss too. So it's going to be a tough division to compete in. So
it's probably, if not the best division in football right now, I'd say.
Yeah, so hopefully, Steve Keim can pull it off and Kingsbury can bring their offense to the next level. Repping the Coyotes just because I love Phoenix. But yeah, so we wanted to ask you another question. So because the NFL has expanded the playoffs to 7 teams now, do you think the Cardinals, even if they came third in the NFC West, do you think they have a shot at making the playoffs?
I mean, depending on who we draft, which I think we're gonna get a couple of O-linemen, and I'm hoping that we pick Andrew Thomas from Georgia, who's a phenomenal player. I mean, when you look at our defense, which is very important, you're looking at Patrick Peterson and Byron Murphy at corners, which is already, even though Patrick Peterson is getting old, and Byron Murphy is going to be a sophomore next year, and I really think he's going to have a breakout year. We have Buda Baker at safety, Chandler Jones pass rushing. Our defense is going to be solid next year. And for our offense, I think that's really what's going to determine our success. Maybe no playoffs for us next year, but we're definitely an upcoming team in the NFL. I think the Cardinals are on the right way to success. But I'd say next year, if we have a positive record, that'd already be great. We've been through dark times lately. Only a couple wins per season. I think a positive record should be the main goal for next year.
Well, you look at the Cardinals and you look at Larry Fitzgerald, really the face of the franchise guy for the past couple of years. He's now 37 years old. He's going to win $11 million next year, which is a little rough. You really think that that the Cardinals should select an O-line over maybe if CD Lamb's still available, knowing that Larry Fitzgerald still maybe is on his last season?
Well, I think personally in the NFL, I mean the O-line is, and more particularly tackles, because Andrew Thomas is a tackle. It's really what determines the success of a team. I mean, the team that wins the Super Bowl is usually the team with the best O-line. And I mean, we brought in DeAndre Hopkins, and we have some other good like offensive pieces. I mean, we talked earlier about Kenyon Drake and Larry Fitzgerald. I think we're paying him all that money just because, I mean, he's the face of the franchise. He's been to a Super Bowl. Guy has some experience, and we have a young core. And I just think he's more there for the support more than to actually make plays. But he makes a play once in a while. But I think that drafting an O-lineman should be mandatory for the Cardinals next year.
Yeah, just on a quick side note, in fantasy this year, kind of made the exact same trade with Will, who we hope to get on the show. Exactly that. I knew that once Kingsbury benched Johnson for the game, they were kind of moving on from him. And, he started getting less production. Luckily I shipped him off, was able to get some people out of that trade. But it definitely shows, the Cardinals were definitely invested in Johnson. And I think, because he wasn't unable to stay healthy, maybe it was just time for them to move on. getting someone like Kenyon Drake, to lead the backfield now. But what I was going to ask you, so besides O lineman, which we know is a very clear position that the Arizona Cardinals need to fill, is there any other position you hope the Cardinals can address in the draft or in the third wave of free agency?
We've got some big names at a lot of positions, but I think a position we're missing right now is a linebacker. And I'm hoping to get like one or two decent linebackers. Obviously, everybody's looking at Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, who's really
It's a freak.
He's a freak. He's everywhere on the field, but
I know
you have to pick between an O lineman and a linebacker. I definitely go with the O lineman, but I mean, I think we're gonna need a good core of linebackers for next year to be successful. So I think our main targets are going to be O-line and linebacker for this draft.
So playing the NFC West next year, what projecting maybe your record, do you think it's going to be a losing season or a winning season, having brought in DeAndre Hopkins?
Depending on how well he adapts to the system and how Cliff Kingsbury can manage him and use him effectively, I think we definitely have a shot at a winning record, and I'm certainly hoping for a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the NFC West is a tough division. I feel like we can maybe steal one or two games from the top teams in the NFL. But so I'm confident in the Cardinals. I think we can have a winning record.
I'm expecting a big season from Kyler Murray. I think that the Cardinals are definitely equipped, for a big year from Kyler Murray. We've seen this before. The only thing that concerns me is, the Cleveland Browns, they did invest in Baker Mayfield by addressing their need for another receiver alongside Jarvis Landry by going out and getting Odell Beckham. But the chemistry between them hasn't been the best so far. Are you a bit concerned after watching how Baker Mayfield performed in his second season? Do you think that Kyler Murray will experiencing the same growing pains?
When you compare Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, they're two very different personalities. I mean, just in college, you could see that Baker Mayfield has he's all for the show.
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray's a smarter player. I mean, Baker Mayfield, he definitely underperformed this season. I was never a big fan of him. He underperformed, but when you look at Kyler, maybe he shouldn't have won Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, Josh Jacobs also had a great season, but Kyler definitely did. He did the job well. I mean, when you look at our losses last year, I mean, week 9, we lost by 3 to the San Francisco 49ers, who were a Super Bowl finalist. I mean, even though we had a lot of losses, a lot of them were close. So I mean, it gives confidence to the players for the upcoming years. And I think the chemistry between DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray will be great. And Kyler is obviously going to throw most DeAndre Hopkins, but you also have receivers around him. You have Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, who has like top speed. You got some good pieces, and I think it should work out fine. I'm hoping.
Yeah, exactly. It's a coach's dream to have a speedster, an off-screen perfectionist, a jump ball winner, and then the incredible Larry Fitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be amazing to see how that plays out. Yeah, I'm hoping that Arizona will be able to address the O-line now. We even waited until Baker's third year. Yeah, huge fan of Baker. Incredible Sooners quarterback. So is Kyler Murray. I think, that's like the face of the league for the future. Hopefully Kyler doesn't get any growing pains in his next season. But, everyone's counting on him to, produce when it's needed the most.
Heart over height. A lot of people are concerned over his height. I mean, he's a 5'9" quarterback playing in the NFL, but I think he's shown that he can play all, like he's a big time player. And I think he will definitely become one if he's not one already. I think he's gonna shock a lot of people next year. It's gonna be a great year for him.
I think that wraps up this segment, DNF. But amazing to talk Cardinals and Panthers. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming out. It's huge. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn post notifications on. Hopefully Cardinals will have a big year. That's what everyone's expecting. Just gotta wait and see.
Falling, but they be calling when they see me balling. Pass me the rock, man, I feel like I'm spouting. These niggas foul with the rep, do not call it. I've been in the foreigns, you can't even start it. I want a big body, you can't even park it. I'ma go dumb out regardless, cause mama always told me, boy, finish what you started.